FEMA recommends a 72-hour emergency supply, and most American households don't even have that. A real emergency demands 30 to 90 days of food. Almost nobody has it. And the ones who think they do, they've mostly got crackers, oxidizing canned goods, and bottled water. That's not a plan, that's a catastrophe. Here are 21 foods that actually last, anchored in real shelf-life science, real nutritional function, and real buying logic. Let's start with what the evidence actually supports, not the foods that feel preparedness adjacent, the ones that work. Number 1 is that honey. Raw, unprocessed, sealed honey has no known expiration point. None. The mechanism is straightforward. Honey's low moisture content, below 17%, creates an environment where bacteria and mold simply cannot survive. The critical buying distinction is that commercial honey often has water added, which raises moisture enough to allow fermentation over time. What you want is raw, unfiltered honey in glass jars, ideally from a local beekeeper who can tell you the moisture content directly, not the plastic bear, not the blended supermarket product. Store it in a cool, dark location and never refrigerate it. Cold temperatures cause crystallization, which is harmless, but confuses people into throwing out perfectly good honey. Gently warm the jar and it liquefies again. Beyond shelf life, raw honey is antimicrobial, has been used historically for wound treatment, and provides fast-digesting carbohydrates that matter in a calorie-scarce situation. This is the anchor item on the list because it proves the premise. The foods that last forever are not the foods most people are reaching for. Number 2 will feel counterintuitive, and that's intentional. White rice, not brown. Brown rice is nutritionally superior under normal circumstances. In a long-term storage context, it actively fails you. Brown rice retains the bran layer, which contains natural oils. Those oils go rancid. Sealed in a mylar bag with oxygen absorbers, white rice lasts 25 to 30 years. Brown rice, under the same conditions, gives you 6 to 12 months before it degrades. This is the first example of a pattern you'll see repeatedly on this list. The healthier, normal life option is often the wrong storage option. Buy white rice in bulk, repackage it in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, and store it at a consistent temperature below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Heat fluctuation is as damaging as moisture. A cool, stable pantry or basement is your best storage asset. Number 3 is the one most people walk past without thinking twice. Salt. Iodized table salt has an indefinite shelf life. It does not expire, does not degrade, does not lose efficacy. It has been found chemically intact in ancient mines. Historically, it was traded as currency. There's a reason the word salary traces back to the Latin word for salt. In a prolonged emergency, salt becomes critical for 3 reasons. It's an electrolyte humans cannot survive without long-term. It's a preservation agent that can extend the life of meats, vegetables, and fish when refrigeration is gone. And it prevents iodine deficiency, which causes thyroid dysfunction when dietary variety collapses. The buying distinction most people miss: iodized table salt, not plain sea salt. Stock both: iodized fine salt for cooking and electrolytes, coarse non-iodized salt for preservation tasks. Number 4 gets a raised eyebrow from almost everyone who hears it. Pure maple syrup, sealed 100% real maple syrup, has an indefinite shelf life in the bottle. Once opened, refrigerate it. But an unopened container can sit for decades without degrading. The key word is pure. The maple syrup most Americans grew up with is not maple syrup. Aunt Jemima, Mrs. Butterworth's log cabin. Those are corn syrup with maple flavoring and coloring. Short shelf life, no survival value, and a label designed to create the impression of something it isn't. Real maple syrup provides dense, simple carbohydrates, manganese, zinc, and fast energy. It is not a health food in large quantities, but in a survival context where calories are the mission, It earns its place. Check the ingredients list. It should contain exactly one ingredient. Now the list shifts into protein and fat, because carbohydrates alone will not keep a human functional. Energy without protein means muscle loss. Fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, K, cannot be absorbed without dietary fat in the diet. This is where most emergency pantries completely collapse. Number 5 is dried beans, black beans, pinto beans, kidney beans, and especially lentils. Sealed in oxygen-free storage, they last 25 to 30 years. Lentils are the highest priority pick within that category for one specific reason. They cook in 20 to 30 minutes without pre-soaking. Whole dried beans require soaking overnight and longer cooking times, which means more fuel. In an emergency, fuel is a constraint. Lentils sidestep that problem entirely. They also carry the best protein-to-weight ratio of any bean, plus iron and folate. Beans plus rice combined provide a complete amino acid profile, every essential protein building block the human body cannot produce on its own. This is not a coincidence. Cultures around the world arrived at rice and beans independently because it works. Stock a variety: black beans, pintos, lentils, in sealed food-grade buckets with oxygen absorbers. Number 6 will surprise people, and it should. Eat hard liquor, 80 proof or higher, belongs in an emergency stockpile, not for reasons you might assume. Spirits above 40% ABV do not degrade. A sealed bottle of vodka or Everclear has an indefinite shelf life and an emergency use profile that goes well beyond morale. It's an antiseptic for wound cleaning. It's a fire-starting accelerant. It's one of the most universally accepted barter currencies in documented disaster situations. It functions as a sleep aid in trauma scenarios when anxiety is a genuine physiological obstacle to rest. Wine and beer do not work here. The alcohol content is too low to self-preserve, and both will degrade. The specific bottles to prioritize: vodka for its neutrality and universal utility, and Everclear 190 proof for concentrated applications. This is a tactical entry, not a lifestyle one. Number 7 is ghee, clarified butter. And the reason it works where regular butter fails is structural. Ghee has had its milk solids removed. Milk solids are the spoilage vector in butter. Without them, ghee becomes shelf-stable at room temperature for 1 to 2 years sealed, and significantly longer in a sealed, oxygen-free environment. Traditional Indian households stored ghee for extended periods without refrigeration for centuries. This is documented food tradition, not theory. The nutritional argument for ghee in an emergency is the same argument for dietary fat in any context. Fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K cannot be absorbed without fat in the diet. A high-carbohydrate, low-fat emergency diet will cause specific deficiencies even if the calories look adequate on paper. Ghee is the storage solution. Regular butter is not. Number 8 is the entry that stops people mid-sentence when they hear it. Wax-coated hard cheeses, Parmigiano Reggiano, aged Gouda, Pecorino Romano, sealed under a wax rind, can last 25 or more years. The wax creates an airtight barrier that eliminates the oxygen and moisture pathways that cause spoilage. The cheeses that qualify are the ones with naturally low moisture content and high salt concentration. Aged hard cheeses only. Soft cheeses, shredded cheese, processed cheese slices, and cheese spreads do not work in this context and should not be confused with what's being described here. What makes this entry matter nutritionally is the combination: complete protein, dense fat, and calcium in a single storable solid. Pound for pound, wax-sealed aged cheese is one of the most nutrient-dense storable foods that exists. Number 9 has the longest documented track record of any food on this list. Pemmican, traditionally made from dried beef or bison fat and lean meat, sometimes with dried berries, was developed by indigenous nations of North America and later adopted by Arctic explorers precisely because nothing else performed the way it did under extreme conditions. Properly made pemmican has been documented to last 50 or more years. It is the most calorie and protein-dense portable food in human history by ratio. A single pound can sustain heavy physical activity for a full day. Commercial versions are available from U.S. Wellness Meats, Epic, and Force of Nature. When buying commercially, check the fat-to-protein ratio. Genuine pemmican is roughly half fat by calorie, which is where the sustained energy density comes from. Low-fat versions marketed as pemmican are nutritionally different products. Number 10 is apple cider vinegar, raw, unfiltered, with what's labeled the mother, referring to the live culture strands visible in unfiltered versions. Bragg is the most widely available brand carrying this standard. The shelf life is indefinite. The acidity is self-preserving. In a long-term emergency context, ACV serves three distinct functions. It preserves other foods when refrigeration is unavailable. It supports gut health during the kind of dietary disruption that comes with emergency eating patterns, and it functions as a wound disinfectant. But the function most people underestimate is flavor. Food fatigue is a documented survival phenomenon. Eating the same foods daily in a prolonged emergency causes psychological and physiological breakdown, decreased appetite, decreased caloric intake, immune suppression. A splash of ACV changes the profile of rice, beans, and preserved meats in ways that matter when you're eating them for the 40th consecutive day. Number 11 is the bridge entry, and it's honest about what it is. Multivitamins retain significant potency 2 to 5 years past their printed expiration date with proper storage. They are not technically a food, but they are the acknowledgement that no list of 21 foods covers every micronutrient gap that opens up when dietary variety collapses. Vitamin C, B12, folate, and zinc are the first deficiencies to emerge in monotonous emergency diets. A multivitamin is not a replacement for real food. It is the gap coverage mechanism that makes everything else on this list more effective. The first 11 foods keep you alive. The next 10 keep you functional. And there is a real difference between those two things. A stockpile that covers calories but ignores variety, cooking flexibility, and psychological sustainability will fail people before the emergency does. Number 12 is hard winter wheat berries. Most people stockpile flour. Flour, even sealed, degrades within 1 to 2 years because the oils in the germ oxidize after milling. Whole wheat berries, the grain before it's been milled, last 25 to 30 years in sealed, oxygen-free storage. With a hand-grain mill, which you can buy on Amazon for under $60, stored wheat berries become flour on demand. That means bread, flatbread, porridge, thickened soups, the kind of dietary variety that makes a prolonged emergency psychologically survivable rather than just calorically adequate. Augusten Farms, Honeyville, and Emergency Essentials all carry hard winter wheat berries in sealed buckets rated for long-term storage. Number 13 is old-fashioned rolled oats, not instant, not flavored, not quick cook packets. Sealed in Mylar with oxygen absorbers, they last up to 30 years. Instant oats have processing additives and greater surface area exposure that significantly reduce that window. Nutritionally, oats bring something rice and beans don't: soluble fiber, specifically beta-glucan, which has documented cardiovascular support effects and helps regulate the blood sugar spikes that come from living on simple carbohydrates during an emergency. They also carry about 5 grams of protein per half cup dry and cook in minutes with minimal fuel. Costco and Sam's Club sell old-fashioned oats in large containers that are close to storage ready with minor repackaging. $1 for calorie, oats are among the most efficient foods you can stockpile. Number 14 is cornmeal. A diet built exclusively on rice, beans, and oats is nutritionally sound, but culinarily punishing over time. Cornmeal introduces a completely different texture profile and cooking range. Porridge, flatbread, polenta, cornbread, if you have baking powder stored, and that variety is not trivial. Degerminated cornmeal stores longer than whole grain because the germ's oils go rancid. Masa harina, nixtamalized corn flour used in tortillas and tamales, is also worth considering. The nixtamalization process increases niacin bioavailability, making it nutritionally superior to plain cornmeal. Bob's Red Mill and Quaker carry degerminated cornmeal widely. Maseca is the standard Masa harina brand at most grocery stores. Number 15 addresses the single biggest gap in most emergency food plans: complete protein that doesn't require refrigeration. Freeze-dried meat, chicken, beef, salmon, sealed in commercial nitrogen-flushed cans, carries a shelf life of 25 to 30 years and reconstitutes into real food with hot water. Mountain House, Augusten Farms, and ReadyWise have all invested significantly in product quality as the market expanded beyond survivalists into mainstream preparedness. One caveat worth flagging directly: sodium content. Some products in this category run 800 to 1,000 milligrams per serving. If you are stockpiling these for extended use, check the nutrition label and pair with low-sodium items to manage overall intake. Number 16 is canned wild-caught salmon and sardines, the most affordable and nutritionally dense item in the preserved protein cluster. The printed shelf life runs 3 to 5 years, but USDA data consistently shows properly stored canned fish remain safe and nutritionally intact well beyond that label date, with some studies documenting 10 or more years of minimal degradation. The nutritional case: omega-3 fatty acids, complete protein, calcium from the soft edible bones, and vitamin D, all in a single can that costs under $3. The wild-caught distinction matters for omega-3 density specifically. Farmed salmon carries significantly lower content. Sardines and olive oil add the benefit of the oil itself, additional healthy fat that increases caloric density and fat-soluble vitamin absorption. Wild Planet and Safe Catch are the two most widely available wild-caught brands with documented sourcing standards. Number 17 is powdered eggs. Eggs are the most nutritionally complete single food available to humans outside of meat. Complete protein, choline for cognitive function, fat-soluble vitamins, the full package. Standard sealed powdered eggs carry a 5 to 10 year shelf life. Nitrogen-flushed cans push some products to 25 years. The quality gap between brands is real. Augusten Farms is the most widely available and performs adequately. Neovia Easy, made from whole fresh eggs using a fractional process that preserves the fat structure, is considered meaningfully superior in taste and reconstitution quality by most comparative assessments. If you plan to eat powdered eggs regularly, rather than as pure emergency backup, Ova Easy is worth the price difference. Number 18 is refined coconut oil. Fat with a stable shelf life is harder to source than most people realize, and it is non-negotiable for long-term health. Refined coconut oil holds at room temperature for a minimum of 2 years, longer when kept cool and away from light. Refined outperforms unrefined in storage because the refining process removes residual moisture that accelerates rancidity. The medium-chain triglycerides dominant in coconut oil convert to energy more rapidly than long-chain fats, making them particularly useful in high-stress, high physical demand emergency scenarios. It also carries a higher smoke point than unrefined, making it more versatile across the cooking range of this entire list. Number 19 is hard candy and dark chocolate at 70% cacao or higher. The functional argument has two components. First, caloric density in a zero preparation format meaningful when cooking is constrained. Second, and more importantly, morale is a survival variable. Disaster psychology research, military field studies, and extended isolation accounts consistently show that access to small amounts of pleasurable food maintains higher caloric intake, better sleep, and more functional decision-making. Hard candy keeps indefinitely when dry and sealed. Dark chocolate at 70% or higher lasts 2 to 5 years sealed. The high cacao and low milk solid content eliminate the rancidity pathway that makes milk chocolate a poor storage candidate. This entry is not indulgence, it is psychological infrastructure. Number 20 is instant coffee and tea, and the case is medical before it is morale-based. Caffeine withdrawal produces headaches, fatigue, impaired concentration, and decreased reaction time, a syndrome that degrades performance precisely when an emergency demands clear thinking and sustained physical output. If you consume caffeine regularly under normal conditions, abrupt cessation during a crisis compounds the stress response rather than simplifying it. Instant coffee sealed in an airtight container has an indefinite shelf life. Nescafe and Folgers crystals are the most widely available options. Waka Coffee produces a freeze-dried single-origin instant that performs closer to brewed coffee if quality matters during the months you're actually consuming this. Number 21 closes the list the same way number 1 opened it, with something so obvious that its importance gets completely overlooked. White granulated sugar has an indefinite shelf life when kept dry and sealed. It does not degrade. It does not expire. Ancient storage facilities have yielded granulated sugar that remained chemically intact. Sugar is fast carbohydrate energy in its most accessible form, a food preservation agent for jams and preserves, a fermentation base, and one of the highest utility barter commodities in documented disaster economies. Buy it in bulk. Store it sealed. It costs almost nothing and works indefinitely.